Some of us are carrying wounds from childhood that nobody can see. Not because our parents hated us, but because words, habits, and behaviors repeated for years became the voice in our heads. The scary part is that parents don't always realize they are raising a child today while shaping an adult tomorrow. I think one of the most powerful things about childhood is that children are constantly learning even when nobody is intentionally teaching them. They learn from what parents say, they learn from what parents do, they learn from how parents handle stress, how parents treat people, how parents solve problems, and even how parents speak to themselves. That is why parenting is such a huge responsibility because children don't only listen to instructions, they observe behavior. A parent can spend an hour teaching respect, but if the child constantly sees disrespect at home, the behavior often speaks louder than the lesson. One thing many parents don't realize is how deeply words can affect a child. A single comment may seem small to an adult, but to a child, it can become part of their identity. If a child repeatedly hears that they are lazy, difficult, not smart enough, or not good enough, those words can follow them long after childhood ends. Years later, the parents may not even remember saying those things. The child often does. Sometimes children grow into adults who constantly doubt themselves because of messages they received when they were young. Sometimes they spend years trying to prove they are worthy because they never truly felt accepted. And sometimes the loudest critic in their life becomes the voice they learned at home. Another thing that affects children for life is emotional availability. Children need more than food, shelter, and education. They also need connection. They need to feel heard. They need to feel understood. They need to know that their emotions matter. When children constantly feel ignored, dismissed, or emotionally disconnected, they may grow up struggling to express themselves. They may learn to hide their feelings because they believe nobody cares. They may become adults who find it difficult to trust others with their emotions. I have also noticed that children learn relationships work by watching their parents long before they enter relationships themselves. They are observing examples. They are learning what love looks like, what respect looks like, what communication looks like, what conflict looks like. If they grow up seeing kindness, respect, honesty, and healthy communication, those lessons often stay with them. If they grow up surrounded by constant hostility, insults, manipulation, or unhealthy behavior, those lessons can stay too. That is why children often carry relationship patterns from childhood into adulthood without even realizing it. This message is for me too because it is easy to underestimate the impact of small moments. We often imagine that life changing experiences have to be dramatic, but many of the things that shape children happen in ordinary moment. The way a parent responds when a child makes a mistake, the way a parent reacts when a child fails, the way a parent celebrates efforts, the way a parent listens, the way a parent encourages, the way a parent apologizes. Those moments seem small at the time, but they add up. Another thing children never forget is whether they felt safe being themselves. A child who constantly, fears criticism may stop expressing themselves. A child who feels accepted is more likely to develop confidence. A child who feels loved only when they perform well may grow believing their worth depends on achievement. That's a heavy burden to carry through life. I think one of the most important lessons parents teach is that it is not what they say, but what they model. Children notice how parents handle disappointment. They notice how parents react to failure. They notice how parents treat people who can't offer them anything. They notice how parents handle stress, anger, and challenges. And often those observations become lifelong lessons. Another thing many people learn too late is that perfection is not what children need most. Children don't need perfect parents. Perfect parent does not exist. What children often need is consistency, love, guidance, accountability, patience, and the willingness to admit mistakes. In fact, One of the healthiest things a parent can do is apologize when they are wrong. That teaches responsibility, that teaches humility, that teaches accountability. And those lessons matter. The older I get, the more I realize that parenting is not just about raising children, it's about shaping future adults, future partners, future friends, future leaders, future parents. The things children experience today often influence the way they see themselves and the world tomorrow. That is why parenting matters so much. Not because parents control every outcome, but because they help build the foundation. And foundations matter. Maybe that is why so many adults spend years healing from childhood experiences. Not because their parents were evil, not because their parents did not love them, but because even loving parents can leave lasting impact they never intended. And understanding that isn't about blame. It's about awareness. Because awareness creates the opportunity to do better. Children may not remember every gift you bought them. They may not remember every meal you cooked. They may not remember every rule you made, but they will remember how you made them feel.